All right, so let's start this podcast. My name is Raphael. I go by Apple Therapy online. Um, since I am the host and I'm going to be just by myself, nobody has wanted to join or even contribute questions. So today's subject is going to be the paranormal. The paranormal is a topic that has always fascinated me. Like it's as fascinating as like aliens and stuff because for one thing you think life is what they tell you it is, like the schools, the government, all just everybody. Like the weirdest thing might be space, but then you realize weird things happen to people. The Yeah, weird things happen, like the paranormal. Like you want to dismiss it as it doesn't exist, but then you have branches of the government, neighbors who experience things. The government, which whenever I said branches, I meant like they covered things up. The government, as of right now, admits that UFOs are a thing, and like nobody wants to get that information out. So, yeah, I just wanted to make that statement. So, let's get into ghosts. Ghosts are an interesting thing. There are many views of how a ghost is. Um, Sometimes, like people think it's a deceased person. Other people think they're demons. Other people actually think they're recorded events. Like they think that water and like moisture within the walls can record something and replay it over and over again. And it makes sense because you see reports of like people seeing an event happen or hearing an event happen. Maybe like a murder happened and you hear the scream. Maybe it's at 3 a.m. every day, like, or, just something like that. Probably exaggerated, but you get what I mean. Um, yeah. Um, so what ghosts are, I like to think that ghosts are, how should I put it, creatures. They might be deceased people. They might be a recorded event in time or something. But I think that they're intelligent creatures that they have too much influence over us. By that I mean they can they can give you one skittle, but they can see all your skittles and take them. If that makes sense. Um, like they show us things, and we have to choose to believe it or not. We're at their will. If they're deceased people, they're not showing us a lot. Like we don't have a lot to go by. And it makes sense too, because like it would make sense if they were deceased people, because like if they have struggles to appear in front of us, like if it takes so much energy just to show up, it makes sense. Like, but on the other hand, if they have full power to reveal themselves to anybody, then that's where I get skeptical. Not skeptical that these things exist, but we we cannot assume or 100% ever know that a ghost is like like the ghost is what it says it is. Like you could see like yeah, I was gonna say something, but never mind. It's off topic, but yeah, that's what I think about what ghosts are. Um, I guess I'll talk about an experience that one of my friends has had. I personally had a little experience, but I feel like the ghost I saw was not even going like trying to show itself to me. it was trying to show itself to my mom. She was a target at the time, but I saw little things here and there that I wasn't supposed to see or hear. But let me tell you a story about one of my friends. He's a really anxious guy. He doesn't really he doesn't like to talk about the ghost stuff. I think he hates it and he's tired of it. And I'll tell you why if I get to it. So he said that one day he was just like, maybe he was like 13 or something. He was sitting in the living room and he's just watching TV. It's all pitch black. You just see the TV. And I guess he like falls asleep and goes into a sleep paralysis state where he sees his sister come out of the room and walk in front of him. The way he described it sounded like she floated to him. I forgot the details about why. But she just lifts her finger up and points at him. Excuse me. But after that, he says that he saw her like walk into her room again and just that was it. So a few minutes later, he was able to move. Like if you ever had sleep paralysis, it's a state where you're like half asleep, half awake. Usually you have your eyes closed. Most of the time you have your eyes closed and you can sense or see like a dream-like see, but you could feel everything. You could tell you're in bed. You could even control your breathing still. And that's actually how I broke a lot of my sleep paralysis things, because I just breathe fast. And then it makes my heart rate speed up and I just wake up. So that's what sleep paralysis is. It's like you're paralyzed. You think you're asleep, but you're actually awake. Your body thinks you're asleep and you're slowly waking up to it. So what happened is he got up off his couch and he walked into her room. And the creepiest thing is that it looks like she just fell on her bed. Like I don't know, like just like let's say you had a hard day at work and then you just like go into your room and just fall on your bed, and then she was just there like that, asleep. Yeah, and I believe him because he's ever since those days where he saw these ghosts, he's been very anxious. Like he's very anxious. And I think he hates it too because recently, maybe like 2 years back or more or less, his daughter was pointing at the closet and she said that there was a panda in there. And whenever my friend walked in to see what she was pointing at, he saw like a ghost in there. And I guess somehow she thought it was a panda, but it was like really just discolored, I guess. I forgot the details of that story too. But I guess he was just so tired of it that he just yelled at the ghost. I forgot what his words were. And I think the haunting stopped after that. I'll have to get in touch with him and ask him. But yeah, that was like, if I saw that stuff, I would like freak out. That same friend also had an instance where he had a buddy that came over, and I think he was like 15 at the time. And his friend literally went into the closet. Forgot why. I forgot the details. I don't think he gave me the reason. And he looks up in the closet and he just starts yelling like, "There's a face in there." The kid literally just ran home. Like, he just yelled, "There's a face in there." He just ran. Like, yeah, that would be freaking scary too. I'm actually freaking myself out now. Yeah, it's just how it is. I just gotta get my wits together. But yeah, as far as stuff that I've seen, I've not seen anything too crazy. I had an instance where I was about to head out to walk to like the nearby gas station, and I guess we had a picture of my little brother hanging in my parents' bedroom, and the thing, I just hear like something shatter, and I was about to head out the door too. I go into the room and I see that picture like 5 feet away from where it was, at a spot where it shouldn't be, if that makes sense. It's almost like if you just grabbed it and like floated there and just dropped it, and that's what it looked like. I don't know if it was like an accident that happened. Maybe the nail got loose and then it fell, but that thing was not where it should be. I'm gonna take a water break. It's probably gonna look like a quick cut to you, but yeah. All right, so I'm back. Like I said, like to you, it probably looks like I just like. Never mind, it's time skip. All right, so I'm gonna talk about my other experience. This is the worst one I had. It wasn't too bad, but it was really freaky. So you know how you look up to your parents, right? I was 15 at the time. You look at your parents at that age, and you're like, my parents have got it together, even though when you grow up you realize they never did. But I was like watching TV in my parents' room. My mom was getting ready to work. She did a overnight shift. She was like doing her hair or something, and I was just sitting on the bed watching on the little TV. It was like Colors TV. I think it was Negima or Yu Yu Hakusho or something like that. It was an anime. It was on Colors TV, and everybody else is asleep because I think the time was like 11. I should have been asleep too. I was an idiot back then. I had school the next day, and all of a sudden I hear the kitchen, all the kitchen doors slam shut, and I wasn't the smartest kid. I slammed those cabinet doors where the cups are in the, those cabinets. And when you slam them manually, they kind of like do a little bounce, like da da dun. Like I don't know if I could explain it. I think you understood what I mean though. Like it would kind of bounce, right? Like the shock, I guess, and then the door would like make a little fast stuttering noise, and so that's what happens when people slam it. But whenever they slam that night, they slammed shut and just stayed shut. Like it's almost like if you put your hand to the cabinet and then shut it and just kept your hand there and didn't let it bounce. And I felt something was off about the slam. Nobody else was awake or in the house, and all the cabinets slammed shut. And my mom comes out of the bathroom and she just looks at me and she just says, just ignore it. And I'm just there sitting there. I'm just like, you heard that, right? And you're telling me to just ignore it. Like it's like your parents are like the top dog in the house and they're telling you to ignore it, and that's like ultimate wisdom to this thing that you just witnessed or heard. And I just feel like I actually feel scared. Like I'm just like, all right, you know. I just felt like she knew something about it. Like she didn't just come to me and she wasn't like, "Hey son, did you hear that noise? What was that? Go check." Like she already knew what it was. Unfortunately, like I'll go into her story. It's kind of sad, but but yeah, I was just there like, wow, there's a ghost in the house. Yeah, and I was aware of ghosts because of ghost hunters at the time, and so I just go check and there's nobody. Like just as I already knew, nobody was there. The cabinets were all closed. Nothing happened after that either. So the story with my mom, she went through this phase of years. she has a story where she said that somebody cursed her in Mexico before she came to the U.S. And she said they left a little trail of flowers, like that. That's definitely like a witch's curse over there, or whatever. I don't know. Like, and she said ever since then, she's been like seeing shadows and stuff. She's had a lot of instances where she was like laying down on her bed and she would see like a shadow man. And yeah, stuff like, especially for her because she has like high blood pressure problems. And yeah, I'm just glad. Like, I think she says that the ghost stopped showing up to her, but they were definitely not good spirits at all. Um, she had a moment where she saw like my dad's face, and it looked like a beast face, like with teeth and fur. She didn't come out with this until like later. Like, she never told me when I was 15 that she was going through this stuff. And that's why I said it was like I was like, it's kind of sad that she didn't have anybody there to talk to her about it. And I would hate to go through something like that. Like, isolation during a haunting is like the most horrible thing you could go through. Like, but yeah, I forgot. I'm pretty sure if I asked her for stories, she would tell me a lot. She just kind of summed it up like she didn't want to talk about it, even when I was like 18 and she wanted to just spill the beans about it. She didn't tell me too many details. But yeah, that's for now. Maybe I'll talk to her and get more details about it. But I guess that's all I have to say for now about me and my ghost experience. I'll end the podcast here. If you got stories or something, feel free to write your novel in my comment section. I will read it aloud. And yeah, I might do live streams too, and feel free to pop up there, ask questions. And yeah, I'm Apple Therapy, and yeah, that's all I have to say. Have a good one.